Good morning, dear students. So, after completion of sexual reproduction in plants, it would be very interesting as we start the human reproductive system. In human reproduction, as the male and the female reproductive organs are on two different individuals, so we say that it is not hermaphrodite. Yeah, you know what is a hermaphrodite. A hermaphrodite is an organism where both male and female organisms are present on the same organism. But that is not the case in case of human beings. In human beings, the sexes are different. It is either the male or the female. Depending upon different features, a particular human is categorized as male, and depending upon certain other features, it is characterized as female. Humans are viviparous. That means they give birth to young ones. If we recapitulate what we studied in sexual reproduction, there are certain steps. First is your gametogenesis. Second is transfer of gamete, fertilization, development of embryo, and then the embryo comes out of the mother's body in case of your viviparous organisms. So in case of humans, we categorize the whole system into certain steps. First is gametogenesis. Gametogenesis in males, gametogenesis in females. Then insemination. Insemination is transfer of the male gametes from the male reproductive organ to the female reproductive organ. After this, fertilization. It is not only important that the gamete is transferred, it has to go and fertilize the egg cell. Then only the zygote is formed. Now, formation of this zygote is an important step, and this is known as fertilization, which you have studied in plants, in other organisms also. Once fertilization has occurred, the zygote needs to develop into an embryo before a new baby is born. So the zygote gets implanted into the walls of the uterus, and this is known as implantation. The period during which the zygote develops into an embryo, that is the fetus, it is known as gestation. You have studied various different animals having different gestation period. It is nothing other than the period for development of the zygote into the embryo that can be given birth to. A zygote, if it's left in the environment, it can be easily destroyed. That's the reason in lower organism large number of zygotes are produced. If you recall, you have studied about earthworms, about frogs. They give birth to like frogs, they lay lots of eggs so that some of them would be fertilized. Among the fertilized eggs, some would give rise to a new frog, new tadpole that would develop into a frog. Here, this much is certain that fertilization will occur. So only one egg cell is present and many sperms are released. Among the many sperms, one goes and fertilizes the egg, and this is known as fertilization. Once the zygote is formed, it needs to develop properly. For that, the zygote gets implanted and it grows into a particular size. Then only it is coming out of the uterus. So this period is known as gestation. After gestation, the delivery of the baby is known as your parturition. Parturition, it is again involving different types of enzymes that help in movement of the baby out of the uterus. So we'll go through all these steps. First, we will discuss the reproductive organs, and then we'll discuss how these steps are occurring. We have discussed earlier too about the juvenile phase of an organism. During this phase, the organism grows in size and becomes mature for reproduction. In human beings, this is known as puberty. If a male or a female child reaches puberty, that means he or she can now reproduce. Now, there are certain features that are seen exclusively in females when they attain puberty. Similarly, there are certain features which are exclusively seen in males when they reach puberty. Now, next is gametogenesis. Gametogenesis in males begin at puberty. In females, gametogenesis begins before they are born and they are locked at a certain stage. After that, when the female body reaches puberty, the locked phase becomes active and they start or continue with the gametogenesis. Next is you have also studied that the reproductive phase is followed by the old age. So in case of females, the beginning of puberty is termed as menarche, whereas in the end of reproductive phase is marked as menopause. So these are few terms we'll come across while we study the two reproductive system, and when we go ahead, we will be discussing them in details. Let us begin with the male reproductive system. First, we will discuss about the structure of the male reproductive system. So these are the events that happen in the reproductive system. First is gametogenesis, formation of gametes, insemination, transfer of sperms into the female genital tract. Fertilization is the fusion of male and female gametes. Then implantation, gestation, and then finally the parturition. So this is the male reproductive system. The male reproductive system consists of the primary organ, that is the organ which produces the male gametes, that is your testis. You see, testis is covered by a thin layer of skin called scrotum, and it is hanging outside the body. The reason is it cannot produce gametes at the body temperature. It needs temperature lower than the body temperature. That's the reason it is outside the body. Now, other than this particular part, we have the secondary sex organs, which consist of the accessory ducts, glands, and external genitalia. This is the external genitalia, and these are the ducts via which it travels and comes out. And there are various glands which assist in transfer of this sperms from testis to the urethral opening. It's a long way to go. Now, this male reproductive system is located in the pelvis region of the males, and it includes a pair of testes, accessory ducts, accessory glands, and the external genitalia. Pair of ducts in the scrotum. Accessory ducts includes retitestis, vasa efferentia, epididymis, and vasa deferens. So over here, retitestis is the joining of all the vesicles which bring the sperms. Then the vasa efferentia, epididymis, and through the vasa deferens it goes and joins over here to the urethra. And then the external genitalia is your penis. Paired male gonads are the secrete sperms and hormones, They are oval in shape, 4 to 5 centimeters and around 2 centimeters wide. They are situated in the outside the abdominal cavity within a pouch called scrotum. The scrotum has temperature 2 to 2.5 degrees lower than the normal internal body temperature that assists in spermatogenesis. The testis is covered by a dense covering, and there are 250 compartments called testicular lobules. You see these structures, these are testicular lobules. Each testis has around 200 to 250 compartments, and each lobule has 1 to 3 convoluted coiled seminiferous tubules. We'll see the structure. Here is a longitudinal section of the human testis. These are the testicular lobules. As I said, there are 250 lobules, seminiferous tubules, 250 seminiferous tubules. Each of them have 2 to 3 lobules, and they are all interconnected to the vasa deferens and then to the vasa, first to the vasa efferentia, then it comes down and then into the vasa deferens. Here is a seminiferous tubule. Towards the inner side, we have the male germ cells and the Sertoli cells. Male germ cells undergo meiotic division to form the sperm cells. Sertoli cells are the supporting cells. They provide nutrition to the germ cells. The region outside the seminiferous tubules are called interstitial spaces. So this outside the seminiferous tubules are the interstitial spaces, contain small blood vessels and interstitial cells, and also Leydig cells. They all help in synthesis and secrete male hormones androgen. The Leydig cells, which is present over here, it helps in secretion of androgen, testosterone. Other immunologically competent cells are also present over here along with the Leydig cells. They are present outside the seminiferous tubule. This is the sequence in which the ducts are connected. From the seminiferous tubules, the vasa efferentia through rete testis, then the epididymis, and then into the vasa deferens. The accessory ducts, this is the sequence in which the seminiferous tubules are connected so that the sperms can move out and go towards the vasa deferens. First, they are generated in the seminiferous tubules. Then they move into the vasa efferentia through rete testis. Then they move into the epididymis and then to the vasa deferens. Now the external genitalia has the copulatory organ made of special tissue, erection and facilitate insemination. Enlarged distal end glans penis covered with a loose skin called foreskin, and the accessory glands, seminal vesicle, prostate gland, bulbourethral glands, seminal plasma, secretions of all accessory glands accumulate into that. It is rich in fructose, calcium and certain enzymes, and they help in lubrication. The bulbourethral gland is also called the Cowper's gland. These are two small glands located on the sides of the urethra just below the prostate gland. These glands produce a clear slippery fluid that empties directly into the urethra, and they help in neutralizing the urinary acids and also help in lubrication of the penis. The other gland is the prostate gland. It surrounds the ejaculatory duct at the base of the urethra just below the bladder and is responsible for making production of semen, a liquid mixture of sperm cells, prostate fluid and the seminal fluid. It contains slightly alkaline fluid including lipids and enzymes, and It helps to neutralize the acidic medium. Sperms are more active to swim because of this fluid. This is the third accessory gland, and it's attached to the vas deferens at the sides of the bladder. They produce yellowish fluid. They stimulate uterine contraction for sperm movement, and a clotting protein forms a temporary clot for ejaculation. Calcium and certain other enzymes are also part of the seminal plasma. Fructose produced by seminal vesicle is not present elsewhere in the body. Therefore, during forensic tests for rape, its presence in female's genital tract confirms sexual intercourse. So this was the male reproductive system, the structure. Not much of details is required for your CBSE boards exam. Please stick to your NCERT. All the terms mentioned in NCERT is important. Do not go into unnecessary details. I have given you some of the details because they are of interest, and also you tend to ask why they are important. But then don't try to go beyond NCERT. Stick to your NCERT.